Welcome to Mild Moodcast, a podcast meant to explore mental health through the lens of another human hanging on by a thread. I'm Bianca, a licensed mental health counselor, here to chat about the topics we don't get enough of. So grab your headphones and let's dive into the crazy world of mental health. It's going to be a wild ride. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mild Moodcast. I am so happy to be here with you today. If there are noises in my background, it is because my dogs don't know how to sit down, and this is a very, easy to hear things house, very thin walls here where I live. So, sorry ahead of time. I know it's been a few weeks. I was so upset because I knew I was going on a trip. I tried to record 2 episodes, and when I got to the end of the second episode, I realized it had not recorded. I clicked record, but I didn't click another button in here that would actually let my mic turn on. So I talked through the entire thing, and by the time I was done, I was like, nope, I have zero energy. I just did 2. I'm not going to do 3. Tried to get to it the next day. I forget what happened. And then, after that, I had stuff to do before my trip. So sorry for, going quiet for 2 weeks. I did need the break, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love making this podcast. It's not a task for me, but sometimes getting myself to sit here at the computer to do it can feel like a task, especially if you've recorded a couple times and one of them did not work out. But anyway, I hope everybody is doing super well. Today is Sunday, August 31st. I can't even believe that tomorrow's freaking September 1st. I know that I have said this for every single month, but how did we get here? 2025 is almost over. Oh, and I know it's just September, but it's also it's September. I don't know. So if you are looking at the calendar today and just going, where did this year go? What did I even get done? Why does it feel like there's so much left to accomplish? You are not alone, because even me, I feel that way. Honestly, I feel like this year was more difficult than it needed to be. I feel like it was more difficult than I anticipated it to be. And by the people that I talked to, I think that they agree with that exact sentiment of just not thinking it was going to be this hard this far into the year. So, again, you are not alone if you've been experiencing that. And just remember that you're only on your own timeline. That's what I continue to tell myself. Whose time are we really on? Ours. So maybe you got certain things done this year and maybe you didn't. Maybe you were able to rest. Even if it was unintentional rest, it was something that you needed. Maybe there were transitions that happened this year and you saw your life going in a completely different direction and it surprised you. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer. So as I said, I went on a trip and I actually went to Phoenix. And I had the time of my life. I was mad having to come home to Florida. Because it's it's hot. Fucking Florida's hot and Florida's gross. And I've said this 500 times explaining the trip. It was just I've lived in Florida for 20 years. I was prepared for this feels like my fucking entire life. Not really, but for a long time. So everybody kind of said, oh, it's going to be so hot and, your lips might blister, and thinking to myself, how much time do you think I spend outside? My lips are going to blister. What the fuck kind of sun do they have over here that we don't? Again, not discrediting they were hot, but it was just comfortable, if that makes sense. Okay, I can be hot and not have to feel gross outside at the same time. That's not really a thing here. So that's why I was upset having to come home. So I was man, this is so doable. And it's really nice. And it's just so filled with culture. I don't know where my listeners are from, but I used to work in Sebastian, Florida. And Sebastian, right beside it is Fellsmere. And it's basically it's a very heavy Mexican population. And that's kind of what Phoenix was like. Every neighborhood, it was an elevated Sebastian. It was crazy. And Sebastian's really pretty. My students, when I was a teacher, most of them were Mexican. And so it was cool because you're in a store, and I swear to you, I heard more Spanish than I heard English. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was just really, it's really cozy. The people are nice. Like, I don't know. I was there for 5 days, and some of it was chill. Some of it we went out and did things. The mall was sensational. Just if it's on your bucket list, definitely check it out. If it's not, you should add it to your list because it's a cool little place. But that's my update. I've just been I don't know, man, trying to push through the days. Like, I how do I put this? I also kind of needed those 2 weeks, which one of them I wasn't available anyway because I was quite literally out of the state, but I didn't have it in me last weekend. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. I've been on a bit of a downswing in terms of emotions. I don't know if I ever said what diagnosis I actually have, but I have depression, I have anxiety, and I have ADHD. So I didn't really notice that things were on a downswing the way that they were. Like it's one of those things where you can go, yeah, I'm feeling depressed, but it's like you're detached from it, you know? Like, I recognize that there is this, I'm allowing myself to stay in bed, I'm doing the things that I need, but it's not exactly getting any better. So it's just becoming my day to day. And I had a talk with my best friend. I was like, I think that I want to go back on medication because I was on medication for it. And I wasn't on it super long. I did the thing that everybody does where they're like, I'm going to go on medication for something. And I knew I didn't want to be on it for life. And you don't have to be, with medications. But I was like, oh, well, I don't need to be on it anymore because I'm feeling better. Meanwhile, I'm feeling better because I was on the medication. But I was actually okay for quite a while without it. Like, I was good to go. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing all right. So I talked to my best friend about it, and she said, well, it's affecting your daily functioning now. And sometimes, I don't know, my brain is so weird because I can recognize that I'm feeling depressed, or I can recognize that I'm feeling something, but it still doesn't click fully. Like, it takes a certain type of logic for my brain to go, oh, that's a really good point, and then me to just be on board. So after she told me, it was affecting my daily functioning, and I was like, oh shit, that's a really good point. And it's funny because I don't say all of this to be heavy. Like, I say it to normalize it. This is the whole point of this podcast, is so that I can normalize mental health. I want to talk about the things that people don't talk about. So if I don't say, like, hey guys, I've been feeling super depressed and down lately, then you have no idea that what's going on. And that doesn't make me, authentic. It doesn't make this organic. So I just want to, say, like, I am totally back on medication. The same day she told me that, I made an appointment with a psychiatrist, and I have Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida, and they connect us to Teladoc. Blue Cross Blue Shield in general, I think as a whole they do that, or at least I know some other people in other states that have it. So I did it. I had one that same night, and then ever since Friday, I've been back on it, and it was fucking instant. And it's weird because the doctor was like, all right, we're going to start you on a lower milligram because it's been a long time since you've taken it. Well, I took it, but I didn't have any side effects. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to bump it up to my original dose and see what happens. It was great. It was great. Like, and I know that it takes your body 2 weeks to get used to something, but I was kind of reading up on what happens when you start taking medication again. Because I'm a therapist, but I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe medication. They don't really teach us about medication. You have like one class, and it's more exploratory, than anything. But apparently when your brain has familiarity with a medicine that you've taken, sometimes it knows exactly where to go and exactly what to do immediately. So I was like, cool. So yesterday was insanely productive. Like, I have just been, as people would say, bed rotting for a little bit. And I don't judge myself for that. I knew that I needed it, and I was providing that to me, but it was starting to affect work. And that's a problem for me because I love what I do, So now I'm at the point where, like, I almost can't even function seeing clients. Like, yeah, that's a problem. So yesterday was crazy productive. Today I woke up suspicious as shit because I'm like, why the fuck am I so happy? And I know that sounds terrible, but it's just the truth. I was just like, what is this feeling? Like, why do I just feel so bright and shiny? And it's interesting because this medicine wants me to pass out in the 1 o'clock hour, which I have been going to sleep 2, 3 a.m. Like, I just really haven't been sleeping. So, one something is making me pass out. And then mentally, I'm awake at 5 a.m. I have all the thoughts. Like, my body is not awake. I am very tired, but I have all the thoughts. And I don't feel unhappy. And again, it takes 2 weeks for your body to get used to something, so I'm sure that this will even out, it'll shift. But the serotonin is serotonining right now. And I'm loving that for me because I've done quite a few things between today and yesterday that I've sat on for months that I've like haven't been able to do. And that is not me, you know? So I don't look at this as a loss. I don't look at it as I've done something wrong. I look at it as I did my best and I need help too. And sometimes asking for help is so hard. Oh, it's so hard. I read something that was like, allow yourself to ask for help. And I forget what the rest of it said, but I was like, there's nothing that I really need help with right now. And the more I thought about it, I was like, damn, I need help with my mental health. And, you know, you go off of it because you feel like you don't want to be on it forever. And then you kind of sit with yourself and you go, is it because I don't want to need it forever? Or is it because of the stigma of having to be on something? Because I'll be so frank with you. When I first was told by my therapist, hey, you should probably, see a psychiatrist about your depression, I was scared. I was so scared, and that's nuts, right? Because I'm a mental health professional. I tell my clients all the time, hey, medicine is an option, dude. If you want to check it out, check it out. Talk to someone. But when it came to me, I was scared. And it ended up being like literally, I think a 15-minute appointment for this particular thing because Teladoc is different. When I did it with a different place out here locally, it was an hour appointment the first time, an hour appointment the second time. With these people, it was 15 minutes. I was like, oh shit, that's easy. And I realize now it's because these are all their like regular doctors too. But these people have a special interest or special focus in psychiatry. So it's meant to be short because even when you meet with the doctors on Teladoc, if you have experience, if you don't, it's the shortest appointment of your life. They just ask you a few questions. They're like, all right, cool, we're gonna try this. Have a good day. And so I had to laugh at myself because I was like, I was terrified to do this. And the lady asked me, because I told her I was a therapist. She was like, what do you want to start with? I was like, girl, I don't know anything about medication. What do you mean? She was like, do you want to start with Lexapro? That's usually where we start. And I said, that sounds great. And so escitalopram, Lexapro, the off-brand, that's exactly what I take. And I don't know, it makes me feel so great. And I realized too was that part of it was I'm not good at remembering to take things ever. Now I have been taking, vitamins every single day. I kind of fell off a little bit, obviously for the trip, but I have this like Monday to Sunday 2-week pill container, old lady type shit that reminds me to take everything I need. So I'm a lot better at it now. And when I first started taking the medication, I didn't have a schedule like I do now. So on my phone, I use my Google Calendar. And so I told the doctor, because he was like, oh, well, do you want to try something else since you forget? I can give you a medication that you only have to take once every 3 days. Now, Bianca knows herself, okay? Yes, here I am talking in third person. She knows herself well enough that if I were to take something every 3 days, I'm going to fucking forget about it. I'm going to forget. There's no way. There's no earthly way I am going to remember once every 3 days. You better give me that shit every day. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. He was like, well, it would be easier on your body, because if you forget one day of the Lexapro, it sucks. You feel it versus if you forget one day of the one that lasts every 3 days, it's not so bad. And I'm like, nope, that's okay. We'll just stick with it. So some part of it was me knowing that I am forgetful and I hate having to take a pill every single day. Anytime I've ever been sick, I damn near never, like, I would probably say 5% of the time do I ever actually finish medication that people give me. When I'm sick, when I'm anything, that probably has something to do with like why I will get sick again, is because if they give me something for 9 days, I probably fall off at day 5 because I feel better. So it was like, I don't fucking want to be on something. But then the other part of it was like, I don't want to be on something for life. I just want to be normal. And then I kind of sat there with myself and I was like, what is normal? What do I mean I want to be normal? Like, do I hear myself? I advocate for people to take pills all the time. And not in a way that's like, oh, you absolutely need to do this. It's like, I support you if that's the decision that you want to make. Because there are options out there for you. And you tell me how you feel, and you tell them how you feel. So if anything changes, I can advocate for you. That's who I am as a person. So why is it that I was more willing to provide that for other people than my own self? It was like hypocritical. So all of that to say, it's only day 2, but I've noticed a major difference already. The same way I did the first time. When I took it the first time, I literally had to Google, is it normal to feel a difference after a first dose? And it was like, some people who have never taken medication before are so susceptible to the change. Like they're not susceptible, sensitive, so sensitive to the change that you can tell. Not everybody is able to, but some people can. And I was like, okay, I'm not tripping. I can feel it. And guess what? Round 2, I can feel it. So I'm looking forward to whatever this means for me. I'm looking forward to the lightness. I still have ADHD. Things are still going to feel like tasks. It's not going to be a fix all, but it is going to be one less issue. And I love that for me. So if you guys are dealing with, fighting, struggling with depression, with anxiety, with anything that's like affecting your mood, a mood disorder of any kind, I would encourage you to talk to a psychiatrist. I mean, if you feel most comfortable, talk to your family doctor. I can't tell people what to do. I never will try. But personally, I prefer psychiatrists because it's like when you go to a specialist for anything. If something's wrong with your lungs, you go to a pulmonologist, right? You don't just necessarily go to your family doctor. So I like the people who specialize in medication because they're a lot more likely to hear you. Now, does that mean that every experience that you have out there is going to be a good one? No. People are shitty. Anyone can have a job. And hear me when I say anyone can have a job. I love to say that because it's the truth. Just because they're a psychiatrist doesn't mean that they're a good person. So, the same thing goes for therapy. Just because they're a therapist doesn't mean they're a good person. They can still be judgmental. They can still come in with their, ideals and try to push them on others. And I would encourage you that if that was your experience, please get another person. Get a second opinion. Go elsewhere. Find someone who's going to support you because you need it. Someone who is willing to listen. And also be kind to yourself. Because, it's fucking tough out there right now. It's been tough, but it's substantially more tough right now than it has been in a while. And I guess the point of today's episode is just my update, but also, love on yourself. Pay attention to what you need. Advocate for you. And you're not alone. You are definitely not alone. Somehow I made it to fucking almost 20 minutes with this damn thing, but if you stayed to listen to me ramble, just know that I appreciate you. I got more episodes coming. If you guys ever have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to, message me. Message me anywhere. I'm not the best when it comes to social media. I link them. I have them. I haven't posted in months. And I'm hoping that that's going to change sometime soon. but I'm still here. I'm still me, and I would love to connect. So again, if you guys ever have any questions, as I say in my little outro, the conversation doesn't end here. Please feel free to send them in. I would love to address some things. Maybe it's something I talked about before. Maybe it's something I've never touched on, but you've been curious about. And if you're not following, if you've not subscribed, if you haven't rated, if you could do that for me, that would be so sensational. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a listener at any time for any reason. Have an amazing week, you guys. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Mild Moodcast. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. If you have any burning questions or topics you'd like me to cover, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me on YouTube at Mild Moodcast and Instagram at Mild Mood Therapy. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to explore the wonderful world of mental health together. Until next time, stay curious and keep smiling.